And I think that every single one of us has an equal amount of luck. Just some people are more prepared for it than others. Some people don't even know there are opportunities in front of them. So just to give you a little bit of biography, just so you know who I am and what really gives me the credibility to talk to you. 25 years ago, 1999, I sold a publishing company. We published magazines. And it was one of those businesses where we made a bit of money one month, made a bit of a loss the next, then made a bit of money, then made a bit of a loss. And it went up and down, very, very stressful owning that sort of business. And then someone came to me and said that they'd be interested in buying the business. Now, I'd never thought of selling it, but he said they'd like to buy it. It was a company called Marcus Bond Associates. And within a few weeks, we did the deal. And when I sold the business, I made more money the day I sold it than I'd ever made of 2.5 years of turning up at the office 6 days a week. I hear this time and time again, where people make more money when they sell than when they've actually owned the business. So right now, you might not be thinking about selling at some point in the future, but maybe that should be on your things to think about list, because you'll multiply up whatever you're earning now, depending on the size of the business, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 times. I then started a business in adult education. Both of my parents were teachers. I started a business in accredited adult education, where there's qualifications for adults. And then in 2006, I bought a competitor. Now, this was a multi-million-pound competitor, and they were our main competitor. If you've ever had a competitor who every single day they're kind of nibbling at you, your staff mention them all the time. Every time you hear their name, it sets your heart racing with annoyance. Anyone got a competitor like that? A few of you, right? Yeah. So I tell you the answer: you buy them. That's the way to do it. So the owner of this company phoned me on a Sunday, and I had his number in my phone, so I knew who it was. And I was a little frosty when I answered the phone. I said, "Yes, Peter." And he said, "I've got a proposition for you. Would you come up to see me in Wolverhampton tomorrow afternoon?" So I went up to see him on the Monday afternoon, met him and his son at a hotel just down the road from their office. He didn't want anyone to know that he was meeting me. And we put together a deal. And by Friday of the same week, which is actually 4 days, so I met him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days later, I owned that business. The following Monday, I went into the office for the very first time. No one knew, and you should have seen the looks on people's faces. I mean, one person just stood and just walked out and never came back. So I was the enemy. The enemy had bought their business. Now, when they started, it was actually started by people who worked for me, and now they work for me again. It was a wonderful feeling. It was karma. It had taken many years for this to happen, but karma had played its part. So I owned that business. I closed down the Wolverhampton office. Some of the staff came down to London with us. We diverted the phone lines, sent all the web traffic over to us, and our business just grew and grew and grew. You see, we were competing with them on Google AdWords every single day. This is pre-Facebook. Google AdWords every single day. Who's going to get the top position? I was spending a fortune. Who does AdWords on Google? Yeah, you can spend a fortune, right? It's really easy. That credit card gets whacked every few days, right? And I was spending more and more, always wanting to be top, and they were trying to do the same. But now I didn't have to, because we were always naturally going to be top, because I'd removed the competition. So all the friction, all the sales team who were saying, right, okay, they're going to go with this company because they're a bit cheaper than us. All of that just went overnight. It was amazing. So as a result, the profit went up, revenue went up, profit went up, and I sold that to a private equity firm in 2007. I never could have done that if I hadn't bought my competitor, and that was a life-changing deal. That was 17 years ago. 17 years later, the sale of that business still pays for my holidays, still pays my living expenses, because I took some of the money from that and I put it into real estate, into property, and the returns from that pay for everything, nearly 2 decades later. So when I say to you, one deal can change your life, that was the deal that changed my life. If you want to find out how to buy a business successfully, get your free business buying toolkit. The link is in the video description below. A few other highlights that people always find interesting. A few years later, I bought 7 online marketing businesses doing SEO, websites, pay-per-click, all of that stuff that you probably all spend money on. I bought that from a London-based private equity firm for £1. It took me 12 weeks to negotiate a deal where all I gave them was £1. You'd think you could do it in a day, right? It took 12 weeks to get to that £1 deal. Now, the business was losing money. I'm going to give you the numbers around this later and show it to you as a case study. The business was losing money, and you should never buy a business that's losing money, with one exception that I'll explain to you later on. But I restructured the group and I sold it 324 days later for £1.25 million to a company called Ad Media Group up in the northwest of England. So as a return on investment for that £1 to the 1.25 million, that was a really good return on investment. Now, did I have to work hard during that time? Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, of course I would. Was it stressful at times? Yeah, of course. It was really stressful. But I'll take you through the numbers, how I did it, how I cleaned up the balance sheet and all of those things. And that was cash, by the way, not shares or anything. That was real spendable money. I took a few years off. One of the advantages of buying and selling businesses, you don't have to work all the time, because you get a nice cash injection there. You can take a couple of years off. That's actually when my daughter was born. In 2019, I bought 53 businesses, and 48 of those were during the pandemic. And people often ask me, Jonathan, what is your advice about buying 48 businesses during a pandemic? And my advice is don't buy 48 businesses during a pandemic. That was super stressful, incredibly stressful, because you're buying turnarounds. The staff weren't there. No one wanted to come into work. I mean, it was chaos, wasn't it? I mean, it's easy to forget how chaotic it was at the time. Physically and mentally burnt out. I exited in a management buyout to my business partner a couple of years later, and I've been helping other people buy a business since 2016. So I've been doing this, helping other people, coaching them, mentoring them for 8, coming up to 9 years. So we've done all this before, and every problem that you would ever encounter about buying a business, we've already encountered it, we've already solved it. And we've got the case study that helps you solve it as well. So any challenge that you would ever face, we've already solved that. I'm not the guy who has a Lamborghini or a yacht, and that's not my scene at all. I'm very much a family guy with a very regular, normal, boring life. And I always say that I'm not one of these gurus on Instagram. I've had a terrible work-life balance over the years. The relationships have suffered as a result. I'm a single parent, and I still make mistakes. So I've done over 70 acquisitions and sales over the years. And not all of them have been absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness, this was incredible. So the question is, would you like to be luckier in business? The Roman philosopher Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. What we're going to be doing is preparing you, so when you come up against an opportunity of someone who wants to sell, you'll know what to do. Now, if you're not prepared, then the opportunity might just walk straight past you and you don't recognize it as an opportunity because you don't know what to do. And I think that every single one of us has an equal amount of luck, just some people are more prepared for it than others. Some people don't even know there are opportunities in front of them. That's why some people move forward faster in their lives and some people go slow. So getting prepared for the opportunity is really important.